I want to wake up. You're not going to wake up.
Am I supposed to wake up?
No. So that is a clip from the Betty and Barney Hill tapes.
The one from the Flintstones?
No.
Oh.
In September of 1961, a couple driving through rural New Hampshire would report something that would become one of the most famous alien encounters in history.
Hello and welcome to Anxious at Bedtime. I'm one host, Cash,
And I'm Monica.
the other host. And together, we make you anxious at bedtime?
Or we are
Fucking
anxious
Kevin.
at bedtime.
I make him anxious at now time.
He's trying to pet himself on the cord. Oh, and
no,
the
it's my
recorder.
hand.
So before we get into that, do you have any ketchup? Or
Shit.
mustard?
No, I ain't got no mayonnaise or relish, nothing. Barbecue sauce, though, let me tell you.
We
Oh.
did just learn that Tennessee has a man-made rainforest.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Who knew that?
It's pretty cool, though.
Yeah,
I
why
kinda
don't
wanna
they
see it.
advertise that more?
They should advertise it more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd go.
I actually just learned it was man-made.
Yeah. It's true. But I did have an idea. I was going to make this a TikTok, but I'll post it, or I'll talk about it on here too.
Oh, no.
So we just went through all of that crazy Jim Carrey clone stuff, right?
Yes.
If you missed it somehow, Jim Carrey, air quotes, Jim Carrey, went to this Paris Film Award thing, and it was not Jim Carrey.
It was not.
No. For like 3.2 seconds, people were like, wow, he got a lot of not awesome work done. And then everyone was like, no, that's not just like not good Botox. That is not Jim Carrey. He does not talk like Jim Carrey. His mannerisms were different. His face was different. You could see in like the corner of his eyeballs where it looked like a mask. Anyway, so there's a couple days of people like theorizing and coming up with conspiracy theories.
Conspirizing.
Yeah, that's the word. Thank you. And this
Welcome.
well-known makeup effects artist came forward and said that it was him, and that just for funsies, he dressed up as Jim Carrey and went to this event as Jim Carrey.
Are you using my conspiracy theory?
No.
Oh.
I mean, we're going to talk about that too.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, Cash's conspiracy theory is that it was never supposed to be him just dressing up as Jim Carrey, that this was supposed to be one of the like infamous clones or like a switch. Like they hired somebody to be the new Jim Carrey because Jim Carrey has gone on record a lot talking about like people in Hollywood are weird and they do all this weird stuff. And we're learning a lot about the things he has like hinted at now through the release of certain files.
Absolutely. And what he said specifically about, pizza and the people gathering, triangle association and such.
Yeah. So if anybody was going to allegedly be a target for a disappearing and a replacement, he would be a fantastic candidate. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So Cash's theory is that it was supposed to just be run of the mill rumors that we hear about where he was just replaced and we have a new Jim Carrey now. But because so many people called it out and the new Jim Carrey was not a great Jim Carrey so quick that they were like, oh no, this was just a prank the whole time.
To delve into that a little bit further, there's a lot of conspiracies about like Selena Gomez being somebody else, that she died. They
Britney
killed
Spears.
her. Britney Spears.
Justin Timberlake.
Well, I was going into the ones that I know the details about, but nonetheless, there's a lot of conspiracies about people in Hollywood being either vampires or about them being clones. After years, they look and sound and act different. So now people are saying, hey, they're clones. Now, we've also been told that, we're going to have alien contact. So, conspiracy theories, maybe these are aliens. Maybe they're clones, that they've taken the real ones and these are alien replacements, or the government's doing it. It's just psyops to see. So to delve into it further for the Jim Carrey part,
Mm-hmm.
the conspiracy that I had was it kind of goes hand in hand with that, but they were trying to do it a little bit more openly, and too many people were upset by it that they were like, meh, now's not the time.
It
Now we're
was a
just going to
bad
come out and
test.
say, hey, it was just this guy, seeing how good his special effects are, how his
Mm-hmm.
makeup works. And that's what they went with. Because why was Jim Carrey silent the whole time? And he
Exactly.
was
That's where I
such
was
an
going with it.
outspoken advocate of there's so many things wrong and they're doing so much wrong that this whole time he couldn't just be like, the fuck is that?
Yeah.
That's not me, my
question
guy.
it once.
I didn't get plastic surgery. I look way more gooder than that.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do none of that shit. So that's why I'm like, hey, they were like, hey, let's see what we can actually release. Let's see how this goes. They were trying to ease us into it.
Yeah.
And we were like, fuck that. Give us
See,
our guy.
I forgot that side of your conspiracy.
Yeah. That's why I was like, hold on,
Yeah.
hold on. Where are you going with this? Because there's a whole,
A whole nother layer. Yeah. But yeah, that's what bothers me is if it was just a silly little thing the whole time, why has Jim, because to my knowledge, he still has not come forward and been like, yeah, that was a cool prank, guys. Or like, yeah, that was weird.
Never spoke on it to
Not
what
a
I've
single,
seen.
not even a like, yeah, I was in on it.
Yeah, no
Nothing.
acknowledgement.
So that's very weird. But I had a midnight thought the other night. Okay, so you know how almost every A-list celebrity gets a Madame Tussauds wax figure done of them,
I do.
where it's down to the freaking eyelash and fingerprint, like copies.
I've never inspected that well, but let's go with
Well, allegedly,
that.
it's
okay.
that good.
Yeah.
Obviously, not all of them are that good, but
Allegedly, someone in this room also beat the dog snot out of somebody and knocked Justin Bieber's head off in the
okay. Anyway,
Madame Tussauds on accident and then ripped the Hulk's hand off and broke his tongue. It was a wild trip. Allegedly.
So, do you think that that could be a way to get like, this is how we make a clone of them? We have all of the information right here. And that's why every celebrity all of a sudden like has a wax figure.
I think that could have been like the earlier stages of it before
Yeah.
we developed more technology
Maybe.
and got a little bit more smart with it.
That's fair. And when was the last time you saw a new celebrity get a wax figure too?
Honestly, just a couple months ago. Yeah.
Well,
They
they
were
have to
pretty
keep up
excited
the
about it.
front, okay?
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I think maybe that's an older way to do it before they had AI mapping. Well,
Yeah.
not even AI mapping, but digital mapping of
Yeah.
people. Another conspiracy theory that goes hand in hand with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi.
Oh,
It's mapping.
I was getting into all the stuff
Yeah,
that
I
makes my
know.
skin crawl.
Oh yeah, that good stuff.
Yeah, no. But yeah, so I think that's everything I have for catch up.
You remembered more than I did.
Yeah. So then let's get into the episode.
All right now.
I do right off the bat have bad news.
I know.
Yeah. So I wanted this to be a two-parter, but I quickly realized there's a lot of information and I want to talk about all of it. So this is going to at least be a three-parter, one more episode. It should end with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Let's get into it.
So for a quick recap, Betty and Barney Hill met and fell in love. They had a long-distance relationship for a while, but Barney, who was a postal worker, transferred to another post office so they could live together. Unfortunately, the only way he was able to do that was if he took the night shift, and he and Betty were unable to take their honeymoon for 16 months.
Still a very long time.
Yeah. When they did eventually take it, they went on a road trip from their house in Portsmouth, New Hampshire to Niagara Falls, but a hurricane, along with a few other unfortunate circumstances, cut the trip short. They drove through the night on September 19th to get home when a flying saucer started to follow them.
Been there, player.
It stalked them for a good 30 miles before eventually popping up right in front of them in an area of New Hampshire called Indian Head. Barney parked, grabbed their binoculars, and walked into a field to get a better look at it. The flying saucer tilted toward him, and through large windows he saw about 10 military-looking humanoid figures. The craft started to transform, almost as if it were about to land, and Barney heard one of the figures say to him telepathically, "Stay there, keep looking, don't run." But Barney felt like he was in danger. He sprinted to the car, and off he went with his wife. They made it home and reached out to a couple different government entities to report their experience, and that's where we left off.
That is where we left off.
One of those government entities they reached out to was the Peace Air Force Base, which is located in Portsmouth. At first, they seemed really uninterested in the Hill story until they mentioned the fin-like structures that came out of the craft when Barney was looking through the binoculars like it was about to land.
Yeah.
They mentioned that detail, and all of a sudden, the story got taken very
I'm
seriously.
like, hold on, we know these fuckers.
Yeah, right?
I saw them last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
What hoodlums we got here?
And the very next day, the captain called them personally to hear their story. Through all of that, the Hills found out that at 2:14 a.m. on the night of their encounter, the control tower at base reported an unknown craft on their radar.
See,
Mm-hmm.
they knew something.
Yeah.
They were just like, what'd you see? You may have gotten a better look. What you got?
You go first.
They were comparing notes, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hold on. What'd you see? One more time.
Mm-hmm.
Write it down. Can you draw it?
Yeah. Betty was searching for more information on what she experienced and checked out a library book that led her to Major Donald Kehoe, the director of National Investigations Committee of Aerial Phenomena, or NICAP.
I'd way rather go by Nightcap, too.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember what I worked. I worked for the fucking Nightcap, dude.
Yeah. She wrote...
What's that stand for? Aliens and shit?
Aliens and shit. So she wrote him a letter about her experience, and she received word that they would be opening an investigation. For a quick understanding of who Kehoe was, he was a renowned UFO researcher who fought to convince the government to not only pursue and research into UFOs, but also fought for the release of the UFO files, which we know took forever and ever and ever, but he was kind of like part of that spearheaded
They're still taking
movement.
forever. They're not here.
Yeah. But he was one of the very first people to be like, no, we should tell
We
people
need
about this.
clarity.
Yeah. Even though NICAP is officially a civilian UFO research group, or was, I don't think it's around now.
No, I've had a Nightcap before.
NICAP.
Oh. Yeah, I'd be fucking confusing the shit out of people, too. They'd be
Yeah.
like, that guy's an alcoholic for sure. He works for night drinks.
Yeah.
He tells me all the time how he works for Nightcap and is wicked and he sees aliens. That guy's always wasted. Yeah, for sure, dude.
Yeah.
I'd work for either one.
Anyway,
I divulge.
so even though it is a civilian UFO research group, it was made up of scientists, doctors, military figures, all extremely intelligent and prominent people,
So not me, got it.
which led to the organization becoming one of the biggest and most influential groups at the time. So, NICAP sent Betty a letter that said, "We were greatly impressed by your report, and we are making preparations for an investigation. Our Boston subcommittee will make contact in the near future."
Ooh.
Just 4 days later, Walter Webb, the Boston investigator, showed up at the Hills' home. Unfortunately, he didn't record anything on tape, but he did take meticulous notes and interviewed them for over 6 hours.
I'd have kicked his ass out.
Right? Oh my
I got shit
gosh.
to do, brother. What do you think we're doing here?
Yeah.
Hey, pal.
He
Did you know we don't have microwaves yet? This shit's gonna take a while.
Oh, yeah.
What year was it?
61.
Oh, they got microwaves. I
Oh.
think it's just real expensive, and not everybody has.
Maybe.
Hold
I
on.
don't know.
Now I'm. I gotta know. Hold on. Oh yeah, since 1945.
Oh, there you go.
There I go.
So he interviewed them separately at first and then together, and here is a word for word what he wrote in a previously confidential report.
Who won?
No,
Oh, nobody won.
nobody won.
Okay.
The UFO came around in front of the car and stopped in midair to the right of the highway, 8 to 10 stories, or 80 to 100 feet above the ground. The height given was a rough guess, and the distance was even more difficult to estimate, but the object probably was not more than 100 feet away, which meant that the Hills had to look up at a 45-degree angle to see the UFO.
Was this guy in there for 6 hours measuring their necks too? That's crazy.
Maybe. The lighted edge of the object, a row of windows through which a cold bluish-white fluorescent glow shone, was visible, and a red light on each side of the object could be seen. The UFO was no longer spinning. Mr. Hill braked the car to a halt, but left the headlights on and the engine running. His wife handed him the binoculars, and he tried to look through the windshield with them. Then he opened the door on his side and stepped out onto the highway for a better look. At that moment, the UFO shifted position from right to left in front of the car and hovered again in midair. Barney still believed that what he was seeing had a rational explanation, a military helicopter perhaps having some fun with them. What amazed him, though, was the ease with which this craft seemed to move and stop, and the absolute lack of any sound at this close range. Looking through the binoculars, he watched in fascination as the object, tilted downward slightly, began descending slowly in his direction. He could see 8 to 11 separate figures watching him at the windows. They seemed to be standing in a corridor that encircled a central section. Suddenly, there was a burst of activity. The figures scurried about, turned their backs, and acted as if they were pulling levers on the wall.
Well, I would have skedaddled too if I were him. Now it makes sense, dude. I've been around gang activity. Fuck no.
One figure remained at the window. At that instant, the red lights began moving away from the object, and Mr. Hill could see that the lights were on the tips of 2 pointed fin-like structures sliding outward from the sides of the ship. The figures, according to Barney Hill, were of human form, dressed in shiny black uniforms, with caps with peaks or bills on them, which could be seen when the figures turned their heads.
Fucking government.
The uniforms were like glossy leather. When they were standing at the windows, he could see down to their waists. When they moved backward to the wall, their legs were partially visible. The figures reminded the observer of the cold precision of German officers. They moved smoothly and efficiently and showed no emotion except for one fellow operating a lever who Mr. Hill claims looked over his shoulder and smiled. The approaching UFO finally filled up the entire field of the binoculars. The leader at the window held a special attraction for the witness and frightened him terribly. The witness said he could almost feel this figure's intense concentration to do something, to carry out a plan. Mr. Hill believed he was going to be captured like a bug in a net. That is when he knew it was no conventional aircraft he was observing, but something alien and unearthly containing beings of a superior type, beings that were somehow not human. I don't believe it, he said as he put down his binoculars. He could see the figures in the object with the naked eye, an inch long at arm's length, but this is highly uncertain in my opinion. The UFO was now an estimated 5 to 8 stories, or 50 to 80 feet up, and possibly between 50 and 100 feet away. It was hard to judge or recall.
Especially with no tape measure, I imagine.
Yeah.
Even a modern tape measure, you got to spend a lot of money to get one that doesn't just after a couple feet, dude. So
Exactly.
good guess, Mr. Hill.
The Hills remember that no light from the thing fell on the ground and there was no sound. And that's the end of that. But how weird. That is from an official report.
Yeah, but from somebody that had a nightcap.
Nightcap.
That is pretty fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah. And again, like, yes, this is an official report for a civilian research group, but a group made of scientists and doctors and military personnel and all of these very, like,
prominent figures.
Yeah. And they are taking this serious.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't have words. In early October, Kehoe had lunch with 2 IBM employees, Robert Homan and C.D. Jackson.
The guys that build the computers?
Yeah, I think so.
This guy back in the 60s was trying to get alien technology out of the computer guys.
That might be it. Kehoe told them about Webb's interview and report, and it really piqued their interest, so they sent the Hills a letter requesting an interview. The interview didn't go as planned for Betty and Barney, because they were under the impression that Homan and Jackson wanted to interview them in an official capacity for the government, but it sounds like they were doing it more because the topic interested them.
Yeah. I've been there, player.
So the Hills didn't get many answers. In fact, it left them questioning things even more, and it caused them to start analyzing how weird their time loss was. That's when it really sank in for them that they had a gap in their memories, and it wasn't just like when you're driving home and kind of don't pay attention that you're driving home and you're like, oh, I got here really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they thought there might be more to this.
Had a nightcap.
Homan and Jackson suggested that the Hills return to the White Mountains and the Indian Head area because it might help unlock memories. They went back several times, and after one of those times, when they got home, they walked into the house and saw dead leaves stacked in a pile on their table.
See, I would have assumed aliens or some sorcery.
Yeah.
You would have assumed somebody broke in and left us leaves.
Yeah, probably.
That's
But
crazy though.
a pile in the center of your
I'd
table.
be fucking mad.
Yeah.
Like, you son of a gun, I eat there.
Yeah, but wait, it gets weirder.
Oh, okay.
There were no obvious signs that somebody could have gone into their home while they were gone. They double-checked all of their doors and their windows. Everything was locked. They made sure nothing was broken. Everything seemed fine. But when they went to clean up the leaves, they found a pair of Betty's earrings in the middle of the pile. They were blue earrings that matched the dress she wore.
They weren't in somebody's ears still, were they?
No,
Good.
but they matched the dress she wore on the day of the encounter.
Oh, and they remembered that shit?
Yeah.
Like Betty and Billy?
Barney?
Betty and Barney?
Yeah, she remembers because they matched her dress.
That's crazy. She still remembered, though.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. But I get maybe because she put them on like that morning and the thing happened at night.
Maybe.
I don't know. But regardless, they were the earrings. And she said she didn't even realize that they were gone because things got crazy that night, you know?
Yeah.
And when she saw them, she like started crying, but she didn't want Barney to know that she was upset. So she grabbed them and tucked them away in her jewelry box and never wore them again.
I would have worn them all the time.
What if they're like radioactive or something?
How would I know unless I wore them?
Yeah.
They were tucked away. You're never gonna. Where are these earrings now? I'll wear them.
Now, I don't know.
Bring them to me.
Her
I
niece
have
might have them.
I have one offering. I will wear them, and I'll let you know how it goes. I guess it's 2. I'll wear them so they don't go unworn, and then I'll give information on them.
But isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Because that, like, nobody else is gonna know, oh, these are the earrings she wore that day.
Yeah. No. Her, possibly the husband.
And
I don't think he'd remember.
alien, I don't think so.
And the aliens.
Yeah. Now, they did rent out rooms. Remember when they came home from their honeymoon trip, they had renters there? But I think it was more like an Airbnb type thing, not,
Before it was cool. Fucking
yeah,
hipsters.
but not that like they had people living with them constantly.
Yeah.
Because in the book that I reference, I can't remember the name right now, but in part 1, it says that nobody had a spare key. And so they were really freaked out about that.
The renter better not be fucking collecting leaves and shit.
Right.
And earrings.
Ugh.
Creep.
One time Betty picked up her landline and somebody on the other end said, "Base intelligence."
Ooh, they've been watched.
Yeah, so she started to believe a government agency like the CIA didn't want their experience being investigated, and that led her to not report the break-in. Can you imagine? Oh my god, I'd call you crying. No, I wouldn't be able to call you.
I'd have to report it to the homies.
Yeah. You're a dork. But yeah, they were definitely being watched, I think. Now, I haven't seen this talked about a lot, but I think Barney might have seen the UFO again. On
Why
January...
wouldn't he talk about it a lot then?
Because remember, the whole
Oh,
time,
yeah, now
he
they're-
doesn't want
yeah.
people to know, yeah.
Yeah.
On January 17th, 1962, he was with about 25 other postal workers when they noticed a huge round red object in the sky. It turned to the side.
The sun.
No.
Okay.
It turned to the side, and they were able to see that it was very narrow, and then it vanished.
So he had homies see it too.
Yeah, 25 of them.
And he should have called them for that break-in.
Oh. Yeah.
Now they tell me you got them on there. Oh, he better have got them on his side.
They tried really hard to move on and live life as normal, but the impact their experience left on them was not small. They experienced difficulties doing everyday tasks, especially driving. They would constantly have what sounds like
PTSD.
Yeah, PTSD.
Presumably,
problems.
yeah.
In November of 1962, they went to a casual dinner at a friend's house, and one of the other guests was a colonel of intelligence at the Air Force Base.
And then they fucked around and faked the moon landing on him too. That's rude.
They got to talking about the Hills experience, and he told them he's known about it for a while. He also told them that the Air Force has known and had proof of UFOs, but they didn't want to tell the public because they would have to waste a lot of resources on debunking false reports.
I think that's still happening.
Probably.
Yeah.
But maybe if everything was out in the open, people would be more able to be like, oh, that's not a UFO today. We saw one yesterday.
And they'd be like,
That's a
why are
balloon."
you reporting it? We know they're out there.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to show up. It would stop it because everyone would be like, why are you reporting it? Everybody knows.
Yeah. So I think that's a silly excuse, in my opinion.
For sure.
Together, they came up with the theory that the red fin-like structures on the craft didn't serve the same purpose as wings on a plane that we use, but they were some sort of equipment that came out of the craft and maybe was what caused the beeping sounds. Like maybe the things that came out are what perhaps latched onto the car, or you know what I mean?
Maybe.
Or that maybe the beeping sound was some sort of attempt at communication, and so it's like speakers coming out or something.
That'd be wild. It just has pop-out speakers.
Yeah.
Like they have all this technology, and they're like, hold on, let me hit this button.
Very Spaceballs, yeah.
Attention humans. I'd be like, yeah, that's the fucking government. They cheaped out on the speakers.
Yeah.
They didn't want to go Bose.
Okay. Back to the story. There was also a hypnotist at this dinner, and I forgot to mention this, but the week previous, the Hills tried to see a different hypnotist, and he refused to hypnotize them, but wouldn't explain why. So at the dinner party, the hypnotist asked them some questions, and he said he believed they were likely made to forget what happened during those lost 2 hours from the use of hypnosis, and they should let the memories come back naturally because more hypnosis might be dangerous to them at that time.
I would have just called him a chicken shit.
But he was also, like, what's it called?
Chicken shit.
No, it was a hobby. He was not a professional. I'll get into it. Hold on.
Okay.
After the dinner, Betty and Barney realized there was an odd amount of Air Force employees there. Even the hypnotist was a colonel for his day job.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was more of a hobby. And
So they were just at an Air Force baseball.
Something. But it was a dinner held at their reverend's house.
So the church is in on it.
Yeah. So the Hills understandably
eyes.
questioned, if it could have been a secret investigation from the government and like not actually a dinner party.
See, and they could, again, it could be them. Here's UFOs. Hey, now let's go interrogate this husband and wife that we showed the UFO to. Let's see how they're doing.
Very Men in Black type. Oh yeah, and like trying to gauge how do people react if they see this.
Truman Show.
Yeah.
Kind of monitoring, just engaging with them. Like, let's keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
Let's see how they spend the rest of their life knowing.
That would make sense.
A psyops for sure.
But the hypnotist, make of this what you will, he swore in testimony in 2006 that it wasn't planned and everyone just happened to have friends in common, and that's how everyone showed up at that dinner.
Yeah, he waited 40 years and he's like, I remember specifically. Everyone just knew each other, man. It was a small town, bud.
Yeah.
Okay. Get out of here.
But
he hypnotized himself, or he was hypnotized to believe that.
Maybe, huh?
Sigmund and fraud.
Barney's health unfortunately continued to deteriorate. The stress of being on nights, his long commute, the separation from his children, because remember, he has 2 children that live with his wife, his ex-wife. And of course, the lack of answers about what happened to him.
All that stress, PTSD.
Yeah. And he ended up getting an ulcer too.
And being pretty sure you're being monitored and
I can't even imagine. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That would wear heavy pretty quickly.
Not feeling safe in your home because you think people are listening to you constantly.
Or everybody you talk to.
Yeah. 2 years after the encounter, Barney went to a doctor for the ulcer. The doctor was asking about his life, trying to find a cause, so Barney told him about the UFO experience and about the 2 hours of missing time.
And the doctor said, great, now I gotta make a call.
Kind of. The doctor told him that could very likely be the cause of the ulcer and referred him to a Boston psychiatrist named Dr. Benjamin Simon, who used hypnotherapy for memory regression.
And worked for the U.S. Department of Air Force.
I did not read his little bio, but I might do that.
Let me see. What was his name?
Dr. Benjamin Simon.
Continue.
Now, Dr. Simon is an interesting fella. In World War II, he developed a way to use hypnosis to help soldiers resolve combat trauma, but especially those whose trauma caused physical ailments, like Barney's ulcer and Betty's nightmares. He hypnotized Barney first. Barney took him through the drive, but he started panicking and hit a mental block when he got to the moment he saw the craft. Dr. Simon recorded these sessions, and I listened to them, and I have some snippets that I will play, but I don't feel comfortable playing a lot of it. They're heavy.
I believe it.
Yeah, you can hear the sheer terror in their voices. Both of them broke down crying several times. It's a hard listen. But if you want to listen to them, they are out there. YouTube is where most of the clips are. So this is like earlier in the recordings.
I try to maintain control so Betty cannot tell I am scared. God, I'm scared.
He's trying to maintain control so that his wife can't tell he's scared.
That's sad.
I know.
But I did find more information. During World War II, Simon served as chief of neuropsychiatry and executive officer at Mason General Hospital, the Army's chief psychiatric center. So yeah, he was also military.
Oh, that's getting weird.
Again, it's weird when there's a lot of aliens and it's always everything that's investigated by anybody that observed it always has something to do with the military.
Yeah,
and a
everyone they're
secret
getting
part of the
passed around
military.
to.
And then everyone's like, hey, Area 51, all these, what happened after World War II and the Nazi scientists and, America taking some of the Nazi scientists and then
We'll for sure cover that at the end.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Go ahead though.
But that is crazy. I didn't even think to look into it. Maybe that's why, allegedly, maybe, in the book, every time they mention a new person, like any of the doctors and stuff, they put in a little square or rectangle information about that person. And like I said, I skipped over Dr. Simon's stuff for the most part. But maybe that's why, because they're like, oh, look, another person that was in the government.
They're calling it out.
Yeah.
Signaling it.
Anyway, back to poor Barney. This is, like I said, one of the hard to listen to clips, but I think it's important to hear, like, he was scared.
I got to get my gun. Oh! All right.
There are several moments where he panicked like that, and Dr. Simon had to calm him down. You can't convince me that that man is faking.
Oh, no.
That's
Why would
under
he?
hypnosis, and he's that scared.
I don't think he's getting paid for it. Why would he fake that?
No, exactly. He saw something that shook him to his core. And he even asked a couple of times to wake up. That's what I played in the beginning, was him saying, I would like to wake up now, please.
Yeah, that's why I thought you were telling me to wake up.
Yeah,
no. Don't try to do that to me.
Dr. Simon was able to get Barney past the block, and when he explained things further, the part where he says the aliens telepathically told him to keep looking made my blood run cold. He said he wanted to reach for his gun, but his hands wouldn't cooperate. He just kept using the binoculars. And here's that clip.
Keep looking and stay there. And just keep looking. Did you hear him tell you this? Oh, no, he didn't say it. You felt he said it. I know. You know he said it. Just there, yeah. Just stay there, he's saying to me. All right. I'll dig in my head. Just pull the binoculars away.
Isn't that crazy?
That is.
Just keep looking. I don't know.
I'd be creeped out.
Yeah, I didn't like that. But then things got even weirder. Betty's account was exactly the same. In both of their tapes, they talk about after they got back in the car, they drove for a while and somehow ended up on a road that was surrounded by tall trees. And all of a sudden, there was a group of small men standing on the road.
Oh no, they got surrounded by the munchkins?
No. These men, like I mentioned earlier, they said they vaguely resembled German Nazi soldiers, according to Barney, who did fight in World War II. The men were wearing shiny black military-style jackets. They started walking towards them, and half of them walked to Barney's side of the car, and half went to Betty's. At first, they thought they were going to be robbed.
I would too.
Yeah, right? Sorry, I thought I heard your phone, but it was a train. But Barney realized that they were the beings that he just saw on the craft. So Betty mentions that she tries to run, but as she grabbed the door handle, the men had opened the door and grabbed her. Barney said they opened his door, and one of the men looked into his eyes, like got really, really close and looked into his eyes. And then Barney was unable to resist or fight at all. He went limp, and two of the men had to carry him by his shoulders, dragging his feet behind him. Remember, the tops of his shoes and his pants were like he was dragged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They Men in Blacked him.
Oh, yeah. Then the men took them to the craft. The Hills were partially carried, partially walking on their own. It's very weird. Betty said she was asleep and she understood that she was asleep, but she kept yelling at herself in her head to wake up, and finally she was able to open her eyes and she saw that they were walking through a forest.
In Kentucky.
No, in New Hampshire.
Tennessee. Where's that man-made one I just learned about?
Oh, the rainforest? Yeah, in Tennessee. She said she didn't understand how she was walking if she was asleep, but she looked over and she saw Barney walking too. She tried to call out to him and make him wake up, but he was completely unresponsive. One of the men said, because she was saying, "Barney, Barney, wake up." And one of the men said, "Oh, his name's Barney?" And she was basically like, "That's none of your business." And then the same man told her there's no reason to be afraid. They just had to run some tests and then the couple could go free unharmed.
See?
Yeah.
This is what made you Team No Probe.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I've even said that on here, but yeah, this story has made me very Team No Probe. So fucking scary. So they walked and eventually saw the huge metal craft, and they were led up a ramp. In Betty's journal about her dreams, she mentions the men being very kind and gentle, but during hypnosis, she mentions them getting frustrated and angry and being rough with her when she got scared to enter it.
Hell yeah, they did.
Yeah, so that's interesting to me because could the dream have been her mind's way of trying to cope?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, or
what they put in there.
The hypnosis they did on her, right?
The Men in Black they did to her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once they got inside, the Hills were separated and each were taken into different examining rooms. Oh, also, this part is so interesting to me. Under hypnosis, each of them individually were asked questions about the temperature of the craft. Their answers were the same, that it was colder than the night air outside, but that information was never seen anywhere else. Like, Betty didn't write it in her journals. They didn't talk about it to other doctors or anything. Because, like,
they didn't remember being on the craft.
Yeah.
So.
That too. But also, if you're telling stories of like, hey, I saw an alien, you're not going to be like, it was a really sunny, nice, warm day. No.
Yeah.
That's not fair. The important part. And I think we kind of touched on it in part 1. Some of the like naysayers think that Betty talked about this stuff in her sleep, and that's how Barney got the information, is because she was just talking in her sleep. But you can't. We'll touch on that more later. But why would she be in her sleep, like I just said, and be like, oh wow, it's cold in here. Anyway, so you're an alien? No.
It's none of you're dragging Barney and it's none of your business.
Yeah. No, that's
step by step narrating the whole dream.
Mm-mm.
That'd be a lot of information.
Yeah, a lot of information to have to retain.
Even then, you gotta study that.
Yeah.
Why did she talk that much and tell all these steps?
Exactly. But from here, just FYI, it gets a little graphic.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Betty tried to fight and run, but they were stronger than her, and they ripped her dress in the scuffle. Both Hills were led down a long corridor as soon as they entered. Betty was led to a room with a blue light and hoped that Barney was being taken to the same room, but the men continued past that room with Barney.
Shady fuckers.
Yeah. And the blue light thing is important too, because they both do mention it in their hypnosis tapes, but Betty says it was a blue light and Barney says it was a blue room. So I think it's interesting to see that they're like on the same page, but also not perfect, like they did study notes or something.
Yeah. They're not reading from the same script.
Exactly. Then they told Betty to undress, but before she even had the chance to do it herself, one of the men that she calls the examiner unzipped it for her and ripped it in the process. So this is how we get her ripped dress.
Do they give her money? Because that's pretty fucking rude.
Right?
They don't get money for their time, their services, or their dress?
Yeah. Or his pants and shoes. They were nice dress shoes, right? Because it's the honeymoon.
Yeah, jerk asses.
Yeah. So there she was, no shoes, no dress, lying face down on an examination table, when she felt them press something cold along her spine. Betty noted that they seemed especially interested in her skin. They even scraped off and collected dead skin cells.
You gotta clone her.
Yeah, something. They checked her mouth, her eyes. They used swabs to take samples from the inside of her ears. They collected some of her hair, like cut it off and collected it in a little baggie. They took fingernail clippings and scraped underneath and like saved the scrapings. They felt all of her bones, like ran their fingers along her collarbone, everything, but especially paid attention to all of the bones in her feet.
So we're like the fish to the aliens.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta figure out how these things fucking move.
Yeah.
How do these little toes propel them to move so
what are these
fast and
little...
run? How does that work in their heavy gravity place?
Yeah.
Hmm.
The examiner had her lay on her back and brought out this contraption that was like a bunch of attached needles with wires coming out of each tip. She started to panic, but the examiner told her, "It's just a simple test. It won't hurt." And she was like, "The hell it won't. I can see it with my eyeballs right now. That's gonna fucking hurt." She didn't say it like that, but you know.
I would have. I'd have said, "You got me 50 shades of fucked up. I can
50
see all
shades.
the fucking pain right there. Look at that
Yeah.
one and that one and that one. That's all pain."
Yeah. And in the tapes, she started crying as she described how scared she was, and the examiner stuck the needle thing into her belly button. She started screaming, saying, "It does hurt. I told ya." And the examiner and the one she calls the leader looked at each other, kind of like, "What? Like it hurts?" And then the leader walked over to her, waved his hand in front of her face, like moved it over her eyes, and the pain stopped.
Oh, see, yeah, they could have done that a lot earlier, dicks.
Right? Yeah.
Well, they probably just didn't know.
Yeah, they seem confused.
So again, we're the fish. They're
We're
like,
the fish.
what species of fish is this?
Yeah.
Like, what is this one?
We're still
That's
in
crazy.
the stage of babies don't feel pain for whatever alien species this is.
Yeah, they don't think we feel pain. We do.
We do.
Team No Probe.
And then here's Betty describing the needle in her tapes.
And he said he just wants to put it in my navel. I tell him no, it will hurt. Don't do it. And he sticks a needle into my navel.
She's terrified.
For sure.
Yeah. But this test that they did does sound very similar to how genetic testing is done on fetuses today, which was not a thing at that time.
And how we test fish.
And is it really?
A lot of what they do, yeah.
That's weird.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a
Do fish
fishologist
have
or anything.
belly buttons? No.
I don't think they... Okay, I'm not saying the exact anatomy,
Okay.
you crazy.
But yeah, if you wanted a DNA test or anything like that on a baby that's still in utero, you get a needle on the belly button. But they didn't have that technology back then.
Well, they could have.
Yeah, that's fair. But isn't that weird?
That is.
Betty did say they didn't do anything sexual in nature towards her. And when she asked what the needle thing was about, they told her it was a pregnancy test.
Like, I could have just pissed in a cup, my guy.
Are you kidding me? She's like, well, I guess today it still happens. Back then it was very rare, but she's like 40 years old. I would have been like, "I can tell you right now, honey, I'm not pregnant. You don't gotta stick that thing in my belly button."
I've been like, I was trying to have my fucking... You guys can tell day one?
Yeah.
Because this is my anniversary trip.
Yeah.
If it's happened, let me know, because I'm going to bang out the rest of this trip. No condo.
The leader told Betty that they had only one examiner on staff, so they could only do one exam at a time. While Barney was receiving his, Betty got to chat with the leader. She told him that nobody would ever believe her story, and she needed some proof to take back with her. The examiner told her, okay, she could pick one thing, and she can have it.
I would have picked him. I'd be like, you're fucking coming with me.
She did not do that. Betty had a look around, and on a cabinet, she found this big book. In her therapy sessions, she said the pages of it, quote, went up and down. It was different. It had short lines, and some were very thin, some were medium, and some were heavy. They had some dots, and they had straight lines and curved lines. So it was very weird.
Hieroglyphics.
Yeah. The examiner asked if she could even read it, and she told him she doesn't need to, that the weirdness of it would be proof that she encountered something from another planet.
I mean, before eBay and Amazon, yeah.
Yeah. After she thanked him for the book, she asked where he was from. He walked over. So this part is really weird. It sounds like maybe he pushed a button or something, and the wall
opened. The window?
No, the wall.
Yeah.
It just opened, but not to a window. And from that opening, he pulled down a map. It had lines all over it, some thick, some thin, a lot of dots of differing sizes too. He asked if she could point out where on the map she is right now, and Betty just laughed and she said, I have no idea. And he responded, if you don't know where you are, there wouldn't be any point in my telling you where I am. Which,
Yeah, he's from super far, but I still want to fucking know.
right? You can still show me. Which dot are you from, sir? But so then he rolled the map back up and closed the opening in the wall.
See, I'd have been a real dick right there. That pisses me off.
Yeah.
Because I'd have been like, you didn't know what the fuck was going on with my belly button and you still had to do that shit. Tell me
Yeah.
your fucking planet, bud.
See, thank you. That was my thought, but Betty was like laughing when she retold it. So I was like, well, I don't know. She took it well, I guess. Maybe I'm just grumpy.
I think that just modern times, we got a lot more attitude and we're a lot
That's
more
fair.
hood than that shit.
A lot more hood than that.
Like, no, motherfucker, you done took me up out of my
Yeah.
fucking... Dude, I was on a trip. I was just cruising in my 6'4", and that shit ain't even invented yet.
Nope.
So, give me my 6'4", and my answer. What planet?
What planet? Then there was a scuffle in the hallway, and the examiner and some of the other men excitedly came back into Betty's room, and of course she starts to panic, right? She asked if Barney's okay, like what's going on with Barney, because obviously it has to be related to
Now
him.
she remembers him. Oh.
They assured her Barney's fine, but they asked her to open her mouth.
No.
Then she did, and the examiner started tugging on her teeth, and she was like, I don't love that. What are you trying to do? And they seemed so confused, and they told her...
dentures, and she didn't,
Yeah, they told her Barney's teeth came out, so she had to explain dentures. But then also when she tried to explain it, she said, as people age, your teeth start to fall out, and they didn't understand the concept of aging.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Told you. Not... I think we're the only beings that conceptualize time.
Something, yeah.
That think time is linear.
So yeah, she had to explain that Barney had dentures from, remember, the grenade accident in the war.
Yeah.
And then what dentures were, and aging, all of it. Very weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the weirdest part, she also had to explain vegetables.
Well, yeah, no, you'd have to explain those to me. You did have to explain those to me.
Not really.
Kind of.
But so good news, if you don't like vegetables, there might be some planets where you don't have to eat them.
I might be a fucking alien.
Yeah. Okay, meanwhile, Barney was going through his own examination, right?
Yes.
He too was undressed. They were also interested in his skin, his spine, all of that stuff too. But for the most part, he refused to open his eyes. He strongly felt that if he was quiet and basically just played dead, that he would make it out alive.
Disassociated? He learned that in the war?
Yeah, exactly. He said that the men were communicating with each other through a series of odd noises that he had never heard before from a human or animal. And he described it as a sort of like humming, but not quite humming. And Betty did describe the same thing. But then when they spoke to Betty and Barney, it was in English. So, yeah, they're very weird.
They're cultured.
Yeah.
They know languages.
Then they rolled Barney onto his stomach, and Barney was probed. He said he felt no pain, but something was inserted. Then when he was on his back, he felt like a cup of with some sort of substance to it, placed on his genitals, followed by pressure. He believed it was some sort of sperm sample.
They put sperm sample on him?
No, he believes
Extraction.
they took, yeah. But he did say it didn't feel like even if you went and gave a sperm sample today, like it didn't feel like that. It felt a lot more like just pressure.
Yeah.
But no, like arousal. And then the examination was over. The men escorted Barney out of the ship, and it wasn't until he was back at the car that he finally opened his eyes. He sat inside, and then he saw Betty being escorted as well. Now, Betty was pissed, because on her way out of the ship, one of the men took the book that she picked out, and then the leader told her that both her and her husband's memories would be erased. She said that she would never ever forget what happened, and he replied, quote, maybe you will remember. I don't know. I hope you don't, but maybe you will. But it won't do you any good if you do, because Barney won't. Barney won't remember a single thing, and not only that, if he should remember anything at all, he's going to remember it differently than you. And all you're going to do is get each other so confused, you won't know what's going on. It would be better if you forget it anyway.
And then he Men in Blacked her.
Isn't that weird?
It is.
Yeah. So the Hills are back at the car. Their dog Delcy was still in the car.
Poor fucking dog just chilling.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did they go, dude?
Yeah. Betty and Barney watched as a huge fiery orange ball moved across the sky and then disappeared. In her tapes, Betty said it was a big orange ball and it's glowing and glowing and it's rolling just like a ball. It must be, I don't know, water? Do they go underwater? It goes down and then there's a dip and then zoom.
See, aliens are in the ocean. I told you that months ago.
So even back in 1961, somebody mentioned, do they go in the water?
It's wild.
Yeah. So the Hill started driving. They heard one more round of that strange beeping sound, and then they found their way home. I guess Betty asked Barney if he believes in flying saucers now, and even after everything he just experienced, he replied, "Don't be ridiculous. Of course I don't."
Yeah, he's got to force it out of his beliefs.
Yeah. But so that tells you, like, I think that's the best insight to Barney's thought of, like, no, there's an explanation.
Yeah.
That wasn't alien.
Have to rationalize it.
Yeah. Now, we kind of touched on this earlier. Dr. Simon makes me angry because he heard these two terrifying, extremely similar accounts.
He said they were dreams.
Yeah, and he came up with the theory that Betty had to have been sleep talking when she had her nightmares, and Barney heard that in his sleep, not like taking notes. He heard it in his sleep and somehow like...
It programmed him.
Yeah, took it all in, and they formed this vivid shared experience that never actually happened. But now that we know he was also involved in the government, that's a little bit weird.
Yeah, there's a 3-letter agency that also talks about people can remote view. So if they're able to do that, maybe that's what he's trying to allude to.
Maybe. That's weird. But yeah, so that doesn't even begin to make sense to me. Yes, their stories line up, but Barney had an entirely different experience than Betty did, especially once they were separated.
Girl, you could try and coach me on what I need to say at your next family meetup.
Oh, God.
From now until the second we get out of the car, and we don't plan on seeing them for at least 20 years. And I'd still fucking forget half of it.
Yeah. So that is
I was just kidding, guys. We're not planning 20 more years before then.
No, but if we did, even with that much planning, you wouldn't get it right.
But you got me 50 shades of incorrectly misinformed.
Yeah. So apparently, according to Dr. Simon, Betty also just sleep talked.
This better not be the same motherfucker that came up with that game Simon Says. You're a fool.
I hope not. But yeah, according to him, Betty just sleep talked all of this horrific, terrifying stuff that happened to Barney when he was alone.
And if she did, what a rude lady.
Yeah. Plus, Betty and Barney have all of these military officers and scientists and doctors telling them that, yes, these things do happen. Like, this is not outside of the realm of things we've already heard before and other reports we have taken. So, like, respectfully, shut the fuck up, Dr. Simon.
Yeah.
Luckily, the Hills did not agree with the doctor, and Barney was able to finally accept what had happened, and at least now he had more answers. So Barney had a change. He seemed to be doing much better. They moved on with their lives, and they agreed that they would keep their experience more under wraps.
Until...
Yeah. They didn't want to see their names all over the headlines, but they did occasionally talk to other people about it, and that is what led to the betrayal that informed the world of their encounter.
Damn, Dr. Simon.
Actually, it was not him.
Oh.
However, this is where we will end this episode. Join us for part 3, where we will talk about all of the unwanted fame, the illnesses that are believed to be caused by the encounter for both Barney and the dog.
And Dr. Simon.
And the biggest piece of proof that this encounter really did happen. We will also finally break down the Hills' physical description of the little men that they encountered.
Fucking hobbits. I swear, dude, if they saw the Oompa Loompas before me...
Yeah, that'd be wild.
Yeah, that would make sense, because that movie was before me, too.
So, I do have to touch on this a little bit really fast.
Okay.
There is a conspiracy.
Yes.
You can find out there on the internet.
Okay.
That when all of these doctors and scientists from World War II in Germany disappeared, that perhaps they had the technology at that point to build themselves UFOs And that's why for a while after World War II ended, there was a boom of UFO sightings and experiments done on humans. And it was all these doctors that weren't ready to give up their tests that they were doing during the war.
And a lot of different countries helped them escape so they can have that technology. So do with that information what you will.
I have to mention it because it is very weird. I don't know if it would necessarily apply to this case. Again, it's all alleged. Like, who knows? But remember, the aliens that were examining Betty and Barney were amazed by dentures and did not understand aging or vegetables.
Allegedly.
Yeah, could they have faked it? Yes. Could they be real aliens? Who knows?
Maybe, but they were from the ocean.
Could they be German Nazi scientists hiding? Who knows?
We don't.
We don't.
We don't know.
I just think that that is something that I have to bring up because it is an insane conspiracy. Is there anything else you want to talk about from this episode?
No, not particularly. This has been the hypnotherapy tapes of Betty and Barney Hill.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us on another wonderful edition of Anxious at Bedtime.
If you or somebody you know has had a brush with the paranormal and you would like to have that story read on the pod, please email it to anxiousatbedtimepodcast@gmail.com. If you have questions about life or the paranormal and you would like to have Cash answer them on a future episode of Ask Cash, you can also email those to
anxiousatbedtimepodcast@gmail.com. The world can be a scary place with aliens or fucking escaped Nazis. I don't know what those things are, but we're probably fine.
We're probably fine. Sleep tight.
Sleep tight. Don't be too anxious.